I have with us Jan from Let's Play History. Great YouTube channel. Please subscribe to him. I have John, aka Achilles. He is our compadre, comrade at times, right? Depending on if we're playing Russians. In the IKS group, the International Kriegsspiel Society. Occasionally we do some romps there. So today we're going to take a in-depth look, I would call it, at Flashpoint Campaigns Southern Storm. We're going to start with the mission Overture, which we will get running now. Let's see if I can get everything going. Share my screen. Let me share my audio. And then we will get her going. And that is an A69 class Corvette in the background there. Sorry, that's my naval side coming through.
You've been running multiple naval Kriegsspiels, right?
I have. I've done Falklands Malvinas a few times over. I did that more as like a freestyle or free judged.
Mm-hmm.
Did it as a seminar game originally, where I used, I'd played a lot of Harpoon 5 naval wargaming, but I kind of used it more as a guideline than a set of rules, if you will. So I kind of kept it pretty open-ended. But we've been doing some KS and other eras as well, some Age of Sail, and it's been good. I've been liking what I've seen, what other people are doing as far as like more of a pure role-playing approach to some of those. So
mm-hmm.
I'm even considering doing a Star Trek KS, which could be interesting, which is quite naval in and of itself, right? All right, so
True. Could use Starfleet battles as the template.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I think for that we might. I think we might again. I might use it as a strong guideline, but kind of. I might even use it on the back end and not tell people I'm using it necessarily. But we'll see how that goes. On the topic, we're in Southern Storm now. One interesting thing is I think they were originally going to probably reword it to Cold War Southern Storm. I don't know if you picked up on that, by the way. But it is Flashpoint Campaigns, the continuation in the series. I assume all three of us had played with the Red Storm. And this is obviously a huge improvement across the board. All right, so we're looking at Overture here. What I really like about what they do here is they give you the pretty quick down and dirty here. This is a summary of the runners, as they term them, the running units. I don't know if that's a realistic term, John, or not, but I don't know if that was ever probably used in the forces, but the runners, as this game calls them. You can get to the scenario briefing. I'm not going to go through all the verbiage here, but a lot of stuff going on overnight. As you can see, we're at 0200 hours, 1989. We've kind of called out what most of this represents in previous videos on the topic of this game, but quick story is that this basically is how long in game time minutes until the next orders will be available to be taken. This is actually pretty considerable if you notice this for this scenario. There must be a significant amount of that's what it is right here. So we'll call out, one of the first things we'll call out here is that the electronic warfare interference is very high. I'm assuming, I don't know if there's airborne EW in the area or what, but I don't think I've ever seen it that high. So the Soviets will be able to give orders more often here. So it's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, background to that being that the Soviets they have the initiative. They have just pushed into Germany and NATO is struggling to hold them everywhere and trying to divert their strengths.
And let's see, what do we know? Speaking of what do we know, let's just see what we have.
Could that also be, I don't know, game-wise representative of the deep strikes, the early deep strikes on communication centers and that sort of thing, when the Warsaw Pact forces first crossed the border?
Yeah, probably so. I don't think it's mentioned in the briefing here, but I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going through these paragraphs just a little slower just to see if we're missing anything.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they just if they put all of that just under the rubric of EW comms interference. Yeah.
I remember when we did the previous interview, we kind of questioned whether or not this would or could ever change in the scenario, and I think the interpretation was no. I thought there would be or could be, like if you take out an enemy HQ or equivalent, or even recon units to a certain level, I thought possibly it might affect it, but I think it's more of a scenario setting.
Yeah, it seems to be a global setting. I mean, the level changes indeed in scenarios, but doesn't seem to depend on what you're doing on the field.
And you might need to help me with the pronunciation of these towns, Jan, but this is
Forchheim
and Bamberg and Nuremberg. Is that right? Nuremberg?
Yes, Bamberg and Nuremberg. Yep.
Let's see, strategic significance. Main road, it's defended by elements of the 2nd Brigade, 1st Armored. It's important divisional assets. Soviets have no interest in taking the town for now. They're seeking to bypass and isolate it. If not for anything, the fact that
well, that was their doctrine anyways, right?
Right. Don't stop. Let's take a look here if there's any important information we can glean from this. I mean, it's just showing you an amalgamation of the BP locations. Speaking of, let's just take a quick look at that. I'm going to proceed. You can get to some of these other elements here, but I'm going to show folks, just we'll get to it from here. So let's go a little bit. What I personally like is I love this spotlight mechanism here, and I tend to do it in the split mode here. I don't know what y'all prefer, but this for me is one of the better OOBs in any game I've played. It's pretty easy to use and easy to understand. So this is the 2nd Battalion's 6th Mechanized Regiment. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Please always correct me. So again, these are the companies.
It's I'm pretty sure that's a brigade.
Let's see.
Should be 6th Mech Brigade.
Is it? This is a battalion.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2nd Battalion, 6th Brigade.
Yeah, I think so.
I
could be wrong.
Isn't that the next highest rung, which is the regiment?
Well, we didn't use regiments except for like cavalry forces.
All right. I will defer. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. I kind of wish it spelled it out when you came in here, but oh well. Okay.
Regiments were a British thing. Except for cavalry,
Always been.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is the recon. Where are they? Okay. As you can see, it highlights the cavalry scout with them M113.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing that you can just click onto the unit in the OOB and then it highlights where it is.
I think if you
and you could also turn on the command structure, so then there would be a line between the unit and its headquarters and all that stuff.
That's why I just turn that on. Just for now, I'm going to turn off the deployment areas until we start deploying here. Just take a look around real quick. Where is everybody? Here is this company of the 2nd Battalion. And there's all his units. So they, they do a pretty good job when they set these up, keeping them nearby. There is an armored company here.
Yeah, so we basically have like 3 infantry companies. One of them has a tank platoon. All of them have a anti-tank platoon and an anti-air section, I believe.
Correct.
And then, in addition to that, we have 1 company of tanks, which is further down south. We have the recon, and we will get reinforcements being artillery, mortars, and field artillery. And air-wise, I think we get Apache choppers and some Warthog airstrikes.
Yeah.
John, you were trying to say something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just getting ahead of Jan there because I remembered the OOB there. We had the Apaches and the Warthogs. Yeah.
And I think that's what I really like about this. Everything is here, even what's not present yet. As you can see, the Warthogs are the arrival time is very clear, and you can actually do menu orders from here, and you can then click. You can double click. I think you can double click. I thought I could double click. Here I go breaking the game again.
I will say that what worries me is when they're giving you that kind of firepower, that means the enemy's got more.
From what I experienced in the finale, I think so. If this is the precursor to the finale, it's probably not much more either. So we'll see. All right, so I'm just taking a little drink here. Let's see. All right. Initial thoughts. I think one of the first things. Why don't we go over like some of the things we like to do, right? First of all, I assume you all use this as much as I've been doing it here. Let me get it out of the way just for now. What I like, there's a couple of like cool things. I like to occasionally just do the fit so I can get a better top view. And I also like myself. I tend to use start with the modified combined obstacle overlay. Which what I like is it always gives me this, so I don't have to relook it up because I never remember what the hell everything is. So what Jan, or what from my end I experienced in this area, in this operational area before, these hills and woods do not necessarily keep tracked vehicles from going across them. Do you want to speak to that at all from your perspective?
Well, I was pushing some recon companies through that with tank support, and I was surprised how far the tanks and how quickly the tanks could advance through these wooded hills to get to the eastern slopes into very good overwatch positions. Not they did actually fight very much from there, but that was surprising, yeah.
So I think something I learned from the last match we had was that you really do need to kind of listen to what this shows you. Of course, that's dichotomy there, but let's take a look at line of sight from some of these units. That's interesting.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit
as
buggy.
you can see, there's line of sight all the way through this.
No, that's I think that's the deployment area you have there.
Oh,
yeah.
Hold on, let me fix that.
You wouldn't have line of sight that solid.
Well, that's what I want to. I don't want to do all line of sight. I want to do.
Maybe use shift left click. Sometimes it's. Okay. So then don't use shift. Because
that's what I'm also doing. Like right now, I do not have.
Yeah, sometimes it needs to reset. It's.
Well, then that's then that this is actually more accurate to what I would think. Actually, let's go look here. Let's go look closer. Like if I go here, that makes sense.
Yeah, there you go.
If I hit here, this is what I would expect. Okay, so that's
Should
good.
they be able to see the valley in the south though?
Like right here.
Yeah.
So these are the things you got to you do need to kind of investigate the map just to make sure it matches what you're seeing. I think this is, I don't know if it's like such, let's go look at elevation real quick. It's not, I mean, it's like a 2 drop here if we're going to use like Battletech terms almost, right? Level 4, level 2. I don't really see why you wouldn't be able to see into this valley from there, right? But these are just little nitpicky things, but it's just something to kind of realize that sometimes maybe the map doesn't fully represent what the AI might consider your visibility. So we'll just keep that in mind as we go through this. Take that off. Let us put...
Yeah, I think so. Our main objective is to prevent the enemy from crossing the river Aish, which is there running from the west to the north diagonally, right? And so NATO forces have already destroyed the bridges, most of the bridges. I don't know, is there one still intact? No.
There's a couple here.
Yeah. But I believe the forces from the north, they only arrive in the finale scenario. So we do know, however, that the Warsaw Pact forces, pretty much all of their vehicles are amphibious vehicles, so they can certainly cross the river. And they will probably bring engineers with them to deploy pontoon bridges. So our objective would be to prevent that from happening, get some line of sights and lines of fire onto the river valley. And as you can see there in the north near Hegnitz, I don't know what because of the victory point location thingy there, I can't see the actual name of the town, but that's a very important position for us. And then in the center west there.
Hold on, I think there's a thing that I can turn that off really quick.
I think if you just hover over it for a while, we'll show you the name. Anyways. It's Pautzfeld, okay.
Out of curiosity, have you been in this area?
No.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so why don't we just go unit by unit, and we'll kind of think about where they need to be. Or at least look where they're allowing us to go and then start talking through.
Yeah, maybe turn on the deployment area then again so that we can see what makes sense for which company.
Okay.
Well, doesn't the intel briefing show you a general axis of advance for the enemy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good point. And here we
so
go.
Yeah, it helps to start with knowing where they're coming from.
Okay, so here's the threat assessment. Information leads to the conclusion. The reinforced motor rifle regiment is heading towards Aish River, west of Forchheim and cool. Establishing a bridgehead, which we kind of knew that part. River near Wilsdorf. And where is Wilsdorf?
I think that's in the west there, the victory point. Oh, that's okay.
So they're all coming from the northwest.
Apparently so.
Supposedly, or at least based on our interpretation of what our intelligence's interpretation of all the data. All right, so now we got ourselves.
Also, they're it looks like they're tank heavy. I believe I read in the briefing that that now they were going to commit their tank regiment for the motorized division.
Is that towards the end here? Right here. The local native management aware intel reports of what was coming their way, reacted to it immediately. So, all right, so let's look a little bit. Let's look at this company at a time here. Oh, let's see.
Maybe we should first figure out what our main goal is. I mean, besides the obvious victory point hexes. So where do we want to get, and then we can see which company could go there. What is a bit unfortunate, we don't have any unit whatsoever with radar, which would be good, especially during the night.
At least right here is the overarching mission, is to block any crossing of the river.
Yeah. I doubt though that we have the time to to get in position to achieve that.
Well, at least our tanks have thermals.
Yeah, they have.
So as far as we're concerned, it's daylight.
Interesting.
The Russians don't have quite the same capability on that. Now, I tend to look at it as I look at the victory point locations. I mean, the only time I played this game is against Jan, so I haven't played that often. So you guys are far ahead of me on as far as the game is concerned. I tend to look at the victory point locations as the kill zones. I know I'm not concerned actually with holding them.
No.
I would prefer to destroy his attempt to take them. So I tend to look at those as that's where he's going to go, because that's where he needs to go. So I set myself up to kill him as he approaches them.
So then let's take another.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say one more thing is the first thing I think you want to think about is what axis do you want to put your best weapon on? Where do you want to locate that? And you're going to put it in a reserve position or a hidden position, and have it, so that you can put it in a position to cover what you want to cover, because you only have the one tank company, and that's going to be your best killer besides your artillery. And so you're going to want to figure out where you want that first, and then set your perimeter accordingly.
Okay. So if we look down here, let's get the chain command there, just make sure I'm good. Good. Where would you like this this company, sir?
Well, the main question is, do we believe the enemy pushes in the west, or do we think they push from the north?
And that's a good question, because on that intel briefing, they're coming from the northwest, but as you could see, they could choose to go to their right or to their left or down the middle, or they could concentrate on any one of those three, or they could try basically the horns of the bull, coming left and right and hold you in the center. Now, if they come from their left, that's got them crossing up there to just to the northwest of Florsheim, and then that's bad. That's pretty bad terrain for them. You've got more open ground down here on the southwest corner. Yeah, in that area, you've got a lot more open ground. So it would seem to me, I mean, I would be thinking in terms of, oh well, yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah, okay, yeah, we're setting up down here.
Well, again, here's just so
that's
everybody's
just yeah, right,
this
exactly.
is and then this is the overall headquarters, I believe.
Yeah.
What is interesting though, if you select the tank company, there's one hex up there in the north on that hill.
Right here or here?
Further north even. So we could detach one of the tank platoons and put it there, but on the other hand, it's difficult terrain for them to get away if the Hügelstein comes under heavy fire.
Well, if you did set it there, you wouldn't leave it there. You need to move it like right away before they find it.
What would, I mean, obviously there's Overwatch, there's potentially taking some out, but as soon as as soon as you fire for probably a turn, you'd have to probably get out of there, right? I mean, it's
normally, yeah, you'd fire maybe 1 or 2 rounds,
right.
and then you're gone.
See, that's the shoot and scoot. It's difficult to do, and it's difficult to do unless the local commander commands that. You know what I mean? In this game, you don't have that necessarily that granularity. Or so my next question is there a SOP, a standard operating procedure, that would depict that as close as you would normally do it? So for example, can we put one squad up there and set them in with an SOP for themselves that would shoot and scoot? I'm unaware. I haven't seen one that's that granular. But
Yeah, you can do that if you apply the relocate after each fire mission, I think. But then they will just fire once and move. And the problem with the abstraction level of the game is that moving always is a bad thing. Because you lose cover and you're sort of exposed and all that stuff. And you need time to prepare this move, and you basically lose the advantage the position grants you. Considering that all the battle happens during the night, when is sunrise, 4:30, so most of the time we will be fighting in the dark. Our tanks and tank hunters are way superior. So, and that is again in game terms, I have experienced NATO tank platoons firing, destroying several of Warsaw Pact companies without being spotted once. So
yes.
you see where the fire is coming from, but you don't see the enemy unit. And that then means even if the Warsaw Pact puts artillery fire onto this position, the fire will be highly ineffective, because on every of these hexes there is sort of a positional grid, and each of the 4 tanks of this platoon is in one of these grids, and if the artillery doesn't hit the grid, there's no damage dealt to your tank. So you could even poker high and just put a platoon there and have them sit there for the rest of the game. But then again, that's just game terms, right?
Right. You're right. It does cover. What's the line of sight from that location? Can we find out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hold on.
Let's see what it actually covers.
I thought you could do it with shit.
Yeah, I got to turn on line of sight again.
Yeah, but I thought you could temporarily do it. Let me see something. Oh, it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to use the LOS down here. Is what I'm telling you. All right.
So let's see what it covers. You got a pretty good coverage of that approach from up there. Can we go up a little further on the map, or are we at the end?
That's the end.
Yeah, that's the top of it. Yeah, I got it out. I mean, let me put it to fit. There we go. We're as high as we're gonna go.
Okay. Yeah, it not only covers. Yeah, it covers anything coming from that direction. So if
this is where we're going to be able to deploy, but let's take a look if we somehow scoot over at all. Yeah, it increases reasonably if you were to move here. Let me see. Yeah, not by a huge amount. Yeah, not by a huge amount, enough to warrant moving. So do we want to take a risk on that?
Well, here's the other question: if you put one tank unit there,
he's going
to be out of command, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but you can detach the unit and make it independent, or assign it to another headquarter if you have one close by.
Yeah, that would be probably up here. Or is that even enough? All right, look, you want to try? I haven't done this, so let's try this though. I think I'm on the right one.
I mean, the question
It
is, do we
scares-
want to do that at all? It was just
Yeah, it scares me that that's such an obvious position. you
It's
think
almost
that
like the Soviets gave us that.
exactly. It's like we've already pre-planned all of our artillery strikes on that hex. Now,
Tommy Bablinski was at the bar.
You can also imagine that if they've given us this much ADA and everything else, they probably have attack helicopter support as well.
Right. That's where their FARP is.
Mm-hmm. And if you put that tank platoon up there, he's not going to have any ADA cover.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So as soon as they know where he's coming from, there's going to be Heinz popping rounds into that hex. So yes, if you put him there, you could probably lose a tank platoon, although he can cover that whole area right there.
So then let's think, okay, so if we don't do that, which is probably what we're not going to do, but where would we want to be so that we could get where we want to be soon after, I guess, because we ultimately want to get up here as quickly as possible or up to these higher elevations. Do we want to go ahead and pull?
Yeah, I guess if we don't put the tank up north, then the tanks will be sort of the second wave to cover the western approach.
This approach, you want them to
Yeah, that makes sense. If you
put them in,
because
put them.
You've got more open avenues of fire on that left side, and his armor is likely to come from that direction.
Mm-hmm.
His infantry probably
for now,
go
do you
for
want me
the
to
towns.
pull them up here? We can fine tune it here in a minute.
Yeah.
Let me just pull them up here for now. All right, we're just gonna again, this is just for getting them up here for now. We'll fine tune all this. What the heck happened there? And
Oh, that's overall command. They can just stay down there in the town.
this one?
No, the last one you tried to pull up there. Just down south still.
Oh yeah, that's the overall.
Yep.
Hold on, I need to zoom in this a little bit. Make sure I'm actually gonna get these guys out of the way just for now.
Well, I guess they will be the first wave anyway, so if you push them over to the west.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna think. All right. Again, we can reorganize once I get them over here. How much do you tend to stack?
I usually do a maximum of 2 units per hex.
Yeah.
I guess that one, yeah.
So these guys are together, looks like.
Yep.
Okay.
That's an interesting.
Or is it from the northern
Here, let's get
company? Can't really read it over the screen.
the river question. I think if you, there we go. No, it's in this one.
Okay.
No, they're all here. Yeah, if you ever question that, you just kind of go back to this. That's why I always like to come back to this one. Question where anybody is. All right, so that's all there. You want me to rearrange this at all? You want me to maybe even take this like that? Or is that the HQ? Yeah, you don't want the HQ in front. Come on. Okay, for now, we can fine tune before we hit go. What about this recon? We want these guys as far forward as we can, right?
Yeah, spread them out.
Yeah, the Cav Scouts. Yeah, you want those guys. They're your tripwire.
And they don't have to. They have. That's what this is dotted line because it's implicit, or they don't. They basically ignore it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they're all independent anyway. So
what we gotta decide for them is how they should behave, right? I mean, that's true for all the units. What I am doing once I have a basic idea of what I want to do, then I basically go through all different unit types and set their SOP to what I think would be the best approach for the overall mission. And then when I go and set up the various companies, I then go back and check if it needs to be adjusted. So otherwise you start getting confused with which units do you have already set for their mission and which not. And
well, let's start with these guys because I think we're kind of most concerned with this, right? Or we would be. Edit order.
And best thing to start with, I think, is from the topmost level. So start with the headquarters and then go down, because otherwise sometimes it overrides. So if you now set the SOP, the standard operation procedure for the scouts, it would also apply to the scout headquarter. But if you then go to another headquarter and set a different setting, it will override the scout headquarter.
So right here. All right.
Yeah, if you set this one now, and afterwards you go to another company and set different settings on that headquarter for the other company, it will override this one, at least in my experience.
If they're part of the same order of battle?
I would think that would only happen if you did it like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, okay, we can go to every single unit if we wanted to, but...
Well, right, I would like if we just wanted to do it for this company, we would do it just like with that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
All right, so let's
But if you click on that apply to self and all subordinates, if you do that with a unit that's higher headquarters than this one, it will override what you've done to this one.
Correct. Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I almost feel like, I mean, probably more often than not, you're probably doing it to all, and then you're maybe making adjustments to very specific.
Well, certainly from the perspective of the cav units, you're gonna want them all doing the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it should be okay on that.
I think these are the only of that type, aren't they? Yeah, I think. All right, so tactical initiative.
Yeah, I think recon needs the highest initiative possible.
Yeah, generous. Yeah.
And losses minimal.
Should I push this off to like...
Standoff is a little bit difficult with this game, but...
I've never understood what this means. Maybe you can explain this, Jan. For the preferred standoff, I would think, as long a range as possible for something like a cav unit, because what you want them to do is see the enemy and then start running away, because otherwise they get slaughtered really quickly in this game.
Yeah.
So is that the way you would do it, or because I think of it as that way, but that seems intuitive to me.
That's the way, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and put 4 or 5. We're gonna correct this.
Yeah.
We need to come back and correct this, I think. But I'm not.
And have they actually applied the update they were talking about in our interview? Because there were some significant changes to that mechanic.
Well, even if they did, I haven't upgraded, so don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. Well.
But it is something to look into.
Yes.
Preferred standout range, and the reason I haven't is because my darn update thing, my auto update does not work, and I think I mentioned that to them too. So I don't know what's going on there. I'll show you what I'm talking about later. I'm going to just put this 4 for now. I want to come back to this, so please remind me to. And all right, I'm just gonna keep it like that for now. Combat medium, I would think.
Max. What's their weaponry? Do they have AT?
I think we might want to save.
They should have.
We might want to save this.
I can quickly go and check.
I wish I could. Let me see if I can get some of these overlays going.
Weapons. So we should hide their vehicles and don't have them support the infantry because they don't have AT weapons. But
I wonder if this will update once as I'm doing this. That'd be kind of neat, but I don't think it will. Yeah, it doesn't. By the way, look, see, just I kind of wish. This is a wish list item we can mention to them. Is that as you're changing the SOP, we kind of need to see the changes here.
Okay, so they have only short range anti-tank weapons. So most of them apply only in the hex they are in, and then the M249 SAW goes into the adjacent hex.
Yeah, the best they've got for any kind of vehicle would be a law. So even if you put, it doesn't matter what you put it at, then max or minimum is still going to be in the same hex. So
okay. So I'm wondering how that even, like, I wonder if that.
Well, the standoff range, as I understand it, is how close they'll let an enemy unit get to them before they start moving. And in this case, we want them not to let them get very close, because they'll get killed, otherwise.
Well, I think we're gonna be beyond it right away, immediately. You know what I'm saying? I don't think no matter what I put in here, they're gonna have to leave like now. All right.
So basically, it's as soon as they see something, they're gonna move. Is what it's gonna do.
No.
And here's the max on the.
Yeah, then, however, you can set their fire discipline to, I don't know, if they don't have AT weapons, just put it to point blank or whatever, so that they don't.
Right. So they're ambushing basically instead of taking pot shots with their M16s at a tank.
And E-fire. Relocate on an E-fire.
No.
Provide direct support for all requesting units.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter for those.
Yeah, it's not gonna really matter.
There would probably not be any minefields.
We would want
concealment.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting. Wouldn't you want it? Well, I don't know. What have your experiences been with this? Have you usually set it to 0 or?
This is something else I wanted to ask Jan about. Is I'm curious about the delay. If, like, for example, he has them dismounted. Does it take them longer because they're dismounted to move away from the space they're in than if they are mounted?
I'm not quite sure how long the dismounting procedure takes, but infantry is moving slower, of course.
Yeah, and when they need to bug out, it takes them longer to remount.
Yeah, yes. It usually takes them a tiny bit, maybe. I can't remember, maybe about 2 to 5 minutes. I can't remember game time wise.
Okay.
It is depicted, from what I could tell, it is depicted, but it's pretty quick in game.
So as long as you keep the vehicle close to them, right?
As far as I know, everything kind of, they always move in the vehicles. Like I don't know of any way to separate them and keep them separate. You know what I mean?
No, you can't. Unless all their vehicles are damaged or destroyed, they will always get back into the vehicles.
Okay. And I don't know if I've ever experienced that, but well, I'm usually dead by that time. So.
I mean, unless you set the disembark range to 1 million or whatever, then they just move by foot, of course. But yeah, what is important with those guys is to not have the carriers support the infantry, because that will expose them.
So hide nearby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those 113s aren't very good anyway. So
that's actually the standard setting I have for almost in every case for the NATO forces, to hide their carriers, even if they have MARDIS or whatever with ATGMs, because it makes them way too vulnerable.
Well, I wonder if that affects what John was saying before, though, about how long.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do we necessarily want to do that in this scenario right here? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're pretty far forward here.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
question
that's
that's the question I'm really thinking about, is because we want these guys to bug out fast. I mean, as soon as they
Right.
see
I
something.
am.
Otherwise, if they're still there 5 minutes later, they're probably dead.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
you
wondering.
makes
know,
sense. Hmm.
We can always save the game and try it again.
well, it's an interesting question because I'm
Yeah.
curious as to how the game mechanic works in that case.
So you want to try it with hide nearby and see how bad it is?
Well, yeah, it's better than support passengers, I think,
All right, so
and
let's do
for
that. I think we're
especially
thinking,
since we have such a really long standoff range.
Mm.
Um, they that gives them a lot more time to remount and move
Yeah.
and
before
that's
the
only
enemy's
if
going to
they
start
see them,
shooting at
of
them.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a preferred standoff of 8, but I don't think they're going to see him that quick. I don't think there's
Probably not.
any line of sight on this map with 8 hexes. So we're
Well,
basically
part of
saying
that may
8
be is it the hex that we've got them in as well? Because I don't know what the line of sight is from that
I think
position.
this is always 0. This is always considered 0. So 1,
Mhm.
like this would be 1. Are we good with this? This looks okay.
Yep.
And
Just to get to the endpoint for Warsaw Pact, you almost always need to have the BMPs support the infantry, because the infantry in most cases does not have long range ATGMs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pretty good. Good point.
Yep.
What is this scope? Specifics and
Yeah, that is if you later on want to change their behavior waypoint based. So if they reach a certain waypoint, then I don't know, don't use roads anymore, or whatever.
So that was the default. Interesting. All right. So I'm going to apply this to. I mean, just from what we were saying before, I would say let's apply this to all of the same type, and if we need to set anything off on its own, we'll. Okay. That's nice. I didn't realize it would do that.
The fire is of the same type. Okay.
Okay, so I think we're good there. We can always recheck it.
Yeah. Whatever that might be, but.
Go ahead. Did you want me to change anything?
No, it's all right. I was just wondering why the forward air resupply point wasn't considered a recon unit.
Just taking a look at what else we got here. Okay. Where do we want to correct? We haven't moved these guys at all, so we probably want to at least take a look at where we can go.
The question is, do we want to? That's probably we'll decide how to set up here. Do we want to leave Forchheim and push forces north, or let's say northeast onto those hills?
Here, be more centralized to come in this direction. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, like objective-wise, there is one pretty important one there in the north. So do we want to cover that by pushing units to the northeast into those hills? Or do we just block Forchheim and that's it for us?
I'm tempted to put these guys here and just drive them up here into. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know.
I would rather have them put them in the hills there to the east, northeast.
Okay, so just at least
not in the west. That's a bad position because they don't have good line of sights.
All right, so we're saying up on in this area here.
Yeah, basically you have them start there near the bridge on the road and then push up into the hills.
I got a question. Is the Warsaw Pact actually going to go for Forchheim at all?
Probably not.
So defending it is essentially pointless from our point of view.
Unless there is a battle plan that has them move along the Autobahn and then cut to the west. I don't know.
Then, in which case, if we set ourselves out, I mean, if you look at the route of that Autobahn towards Forchheim, it's a trap. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you can murder anything that comes down that open Autobahn down there from both sides.
Oh.
So don't defend the town, but hit them in that open area before they get to it.
Well, right now it's not letting me get much further in any direction.
Yeah,
Where do you
you're
wanna
gonna end up we're gonna end up having to move people to position.
go? Right. So where do you ultimately want this company to deploy within a turn or two? I think within a turn it can get where it's trying to go.
Yeah, our turn takes 40 minutes, so
Yeah, considering.
they'll be there.
Oh, that definitely is something to consider. We're not gonna be able to reorder them for a pretty
No,
good
you
amount.
you better be right the first time.
Hmm.
But I think Jan was right. You have
What
much
about
better.
let's do this. Let's take care of this SAM unit here, this air defense unit. Where would you like this one, Jan?
I would put it on the road and then have it move and deploy in Rettern, probably.
Like towards that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I assume they could even move hastily because it's all dark and stuff. So the enemy shouldn't be in those hills right now.
And what would you like to do at the end? Hide or train?
For anti-air, I would have them hold because then they take covered positions. I mean, if they are in a situation that they have to move, they are lost anyway.
Go. Pretty much just move these guys up and do. You want them to come similarly?
The question is, I'm just taking a quick look on my map here.
Yeah, where do you want them to end up? That's kind
Just
of the
take a look.
key.
Take a look at what they got first too.
These are going to be tows, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So not horrible.
No, best anti-vehicle stuff you've got other than the tanks. So.
All right.
I would suggest the hex that is west of the Högelstein Hill, because from there they can scoot to the east and be immediately out of line of sight. So let me get back to the. Do you know which one I mean?
I do not.
Do you remember
Is
the one hex we could place the tanks on? To the north?
Oh, these?
No. To the north.
To the north of where you're on. Yeah.
And there it says Högelstein, 498 meters north of Rettern.
That hill up there.
Hold on a second. Oh, this one right here?
Yeah.
Ah, hold on.
But don't put them on there, but put them on the next lower level to the left of that hill.
So right here.
No, not on the road, on the level
hill.
in between.
So deliberate.
I would say you can start moving hastily and then have the last move be do one point in Rettern and then do the other one at where they should arrive.
Right here.
Yes. And then edit the waypoint to have them screen, yes, because then they will be more mobile. And edit that waypoint to be deliberate. Yep. Exactly.
Aha.
There you go.
What was the benefit of that necessarily? Does it not automatically interpret that based on the fact that we're, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. That's actually the case. If you I can't quite remember, there was a hiccup with that. If you later on change waypoints and stuff, I think you could exploit it in a way. But if you have this set up from the beginning, they will be prepared to move on immediately. Otherwise,
So
they'll be sitting there and thinking about, oh, how do I get onto that slope? I don't know.
So they're aware of it and it won't affect the timing. Interesting. Okay, that's a very good point. All right, very good.
What's the range on the map of those toes?
What do they have?
Pretty good.
Oh yeah. I was thinking, this. And what's the line of sight from what is this location? Ritterner. It's too small for me to see. Ritterner Kanzel?
Yeah, Retterner Kanzel. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
What's the LOS look like from that location?
Hold on.
No, too short. There is some. I mean, if we have someone who could spot into the valley, that would be probably.
It's a good ambush location, though.
Yeah, it is.
And I think it has better concealment than the other one.
Then this one, you mean? Hold on.
Yeah, or actually, than the one we're putting the toes in. The toes are going to have a little further reach
like,
from that location.
Yeah. Right.
But from the other location, they have better concealment, I think.
What's the thought there? Shift it or no?
I don't know. What do you think, on? What do you think, Jan?
I'm thinking they.
I think. I mean, considering it's in the middle of the night and the Warsaw pack doesn't have thermals.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
And then just use the infantry to put them there into the woods and cover the approaches, basically.
As far like in here.
Yeah, probably one in there and the one of the others into Bammersdorf maybe. And then the question is, do we want to push one to the edge of the Autobahn? We could.
Like here?
No, this one up there is good as it is, I think. Maybe one hex further north, but that's just...
You definitely want to cover that. You see those wooded hexes to the left of Bammersdorf?
Well, yes. We got more. Yeah, I can move other ones.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to put something in that hex that you were just on right there.
How about, hold on a second. Sorry. Yeah. So you want that one there, holding, I would think.
That's a good question. What does the infantry have weapon-wise?
Probably
dragons.
Laws for... Oh, they have dragons?
They have one dragon section. With 4 rounds. Okay.
They'll use those up pretty quick.
Yeah. And all the rest is laws. So then it could, yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit of a question. Do you want to risk have them sitting there and count on the enemy rushing into them and then just sort of have them ambushing the enemy, or do you just want to, once the enemy pops up that slope, hit them with the dragons and then scoot away? It could be possible as well.
Another question when kind of deploying / ordering the first turn. I should probably be moving these guys up, but we don't want to clump them, right? Like, so if I...
Yeah, don't overstack.
Here, I'm going to just... Let's escape that. I don't want to do that yet. I want to move them.
Yeah, you can still drop them to another
I'm going to
position.
just do like this before we do it. All right, now let's do that again. Let's take this guy. Make sure we're positioned on him. Let's move that. And you wanted them here. And you wanted to hold their screen. I can't remember.
Screen?
Yeah, it really depends.
Interesting.
What's their... Now, what is their range from that location? Because I'm thinking, you see that where the road crests the hill on its way to Karenhofen? Can they hit that spot?
Should be, they should be able to.
You want to see the line of sight from here?
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. That's their range? Oh dear. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's well, that's their detection. That's their line of sight. Hold on, the
Okay.
range wrangler here. Let me take the other ones off.
Oh yeah,
That's-
easily then. Okay, excellent. That's a good spot for them then, because I was assuming they don't get hammered before they ever get a shot off. But it's a good spot for them because as any vehicles start to come up that road, if they come up that road at all, they crest that hill, they're going to get smacked.
No.
So it looks like this other unit was already doing the same thing, or it interpreted it as both of them. Do you want me to? Hold on a second.
Have one of them, as John said, have one of them move through Bummersdorf and then approach the Autobahn.
So from this direction?
Yeah.
All the way to it, or here? Or
Not
there?
that location, the one below it.
Yeah, you can
Here?
just drag it down.
Oh, didn't know. Sorry.
No worries.
It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Screen or hold. Up the screen.
Screen, yeah.
Right.
If they
Now
have
we change
fired
it.
their dragons, they gotta go.
So let's move this unit. Did we want another unit here, kind of coming from here?
Or just have it sit in Forchheim and cover that area there from there. I don't know.
Here?
Yep.
Here?
Yeah, somewhere in there where he's got good cover and concealment, he can cover. So then you have like a nice little kill zone right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
All right.
wouldn't put the headquarter there. Put it a little bit
No.
further behind. It has sufficient command from there. Yeah, looks good.
Okay. I think that's we can look. We can take a good look at everything just before we hit go. So what about this unit here?
The
Where
next
can it
company.
go?
Well, do you want to set it up as basically the ones the ones we just set will fire, fight, fall back, and then these guys can set up your MLR.
So basically in this same area, just kind of reposition them a little bit.
Yeah, they would be coming up because we're going to move them. They'll be coming up behind these guys, but they'll basically be the MLR for Forsheim.
But keep them south of town or get them
For those who don't know the concept, what exactly is an MLR?
The main line of resistance. I'm sorry. So essentially, your first units get hit. They fire and they fall back and fire and fall back and continue to do that until they reach the point where now you need to defend. You can't give up ground anymore, and that's your MLR. That's where this is where we're going to fight. Okay, so you want somebody already dug in and in position so that those other guys are essentially falling back to them, and then when they reach that point, everybody stands and fights.
No.
All right. Where would you? Let's maybe start with the air, anti-air. Do we want them?
Well, where do you want that line to be? Basically, if we are defending Florsheim, it's going to be the bridges.
Here.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are five bridges we need to cover.
Okay, so well, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just kind of get them up here, or at least.
And you're going to want the towed vehicles to be at this essentially this. I can't point it out for you, but it's the center bridge due north at the across the those two bridges. You're going to want the tows to be covering there because they're going to have the longest reach from that position. And if there are vehicles coming down that road, they're essentially going to have the reach to hit them.
Line of sight is pretty bad down there. I would.
Is it?
Yeah, I would suggest putting the towers on the position the two infantry platoons are right now. No, to the east there. Those that are moving to the north.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Like here.
No, not there. There.
Well, here.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a pretty good position. And screen, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess you can pull the two platoons down there. They are basically starting their movement in the woods on the hill right now. So if you just pull them down onto the road behind the towers that are moving to the north.
Like even put them here.
No, the other ones in the north, further in the north.
This one?
Nope. North, those that already have the movement orders to move north from the other company.
These guys.
Nope. These guys up there. Yeah, these. They are currently, you just, for setup reasons, you've put them onto the hill, but they are now have to move down the hill, move through Forchheim, and then get back onto the road. So just pull the counters back down onto the road.
So like that?
Nope.
Where do you want this unit?
He's talking about the company in front.
Yeah.
The one that's already in Forchheim.
So if we can quickly do the anti-air. I would put the anti-air 1 hex below the one we have sent the Tau now. So yeah, this one, pull the waypoint 1 hex down. Yep. And now the two companies above that waypoint, they need to be dragged onto the road in the city.
Yeah, put them on so they're starting on the road.
Yeah, otherwise they'll just waste time moving down that hill.
There you go.
Yep,
yeah.
Perfect.
Now I understand what you're saying. Right.
Yeah, I wish there was some sort of pointing mechanism here in the instrument.
From that location where you just moved those guys, has that got good LOS from the position where he just took those guys off of?
Yeah, perfect.
Does will it cover out to the approaches to those bridges?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's where you're going to want the. Oh, you got a tank in here.
Yeah, I think you have the towers moving there now, but the question would be where to put the tanks. I'm not sure if we on the western bank of the river. Is there a good position? I don't think so. Let me.
No. But that hill right there, the one you were just mentioning, would be an excellent location for the tanks.
And where would you put the tank hunters then?
The toes?
Yeah.
Check the let's see. Check the that part of the hill that's just northeast of that hex. Of that same hex.
This?
Oh no, I'm talking about on the east side. Where you just took the guys away from a minute ago.
Yeah, this one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where you want the tanks. Look at that. Oh yeah, you got lovely LOS all the way down there. And then we were trying to figure out where to put the toes from that group.
Mm-hmm.
You could put them in
the same one, but yeah, maybe that's a good idea to put them in the adjacent hex.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is the hex right next to it? Mm-hmm.
Like move it, change this to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it covers the approaches. Yeah.
Does it? Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes it weird. You want to make it hasty? I mean, deliberate.
So what I tend to do is do at least 2 waypoints, if not more. Sometimes they go crazy routes. So in this case, I would probably do it that way and then have the movement from waypoint 1 to 2 be deliberate. But yeah, as you can see, that's a little bit weird here because they think it's quicker to move through the town anyways. I guess you can delete waypoint 1 and just move them in there, considering the scenario.
can I do that? Here, I'll just
If you right click on the waypoint.
hold on. You are correct, sir. Very good. All right.
Okay,
And then you're
have-
going to want the tanks go into that hex that you vacated before.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Did that? Okay. Now we have the 2 infantry platoons. I'm not sure if we want all of them to be at the northern bridges. Maybe put one to cover the
Right here.
bridge to the west.
Right.
So that's
here.
not... So I mean, they won't have much of line of sight there, but that isn't probably their biggest
It's all right.
concern.
They're infantry.
Oh.
They're infantry. They have to get... They want the enemy to try to run them over in that position.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And I think in that position you can actually order them to hold. And then they will dig in and defend better.
Mhm.
And we also
Yeah, they
need
can
to
use all that urban terrain.
Yeah, and we also need to change the SOP, but we can do that later on.
There we go. That's better. What do you want the other guys like near them here?
Yeah, they're infantry. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So here, like up here.
No,
We can
why
move
not?
it here.
Mhm.
Let's just see what that renders at. Ooh, that's weird. A little better. There you go. Like that.
Yep.
There you go.
And then just
Peter's creating traffic jam.
and just put the headquarters somewhere. I don't know.
Well, it depends on the timing, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we kind of, you know what, a cool feature would be like a predicted movement, like video
PTA?
almost, you know? Where you could like say, show me what I just did. Just show me what I just did. But,
What does this look like in real life?
how will this render?
Yeah,
And
just I think they are good. Just put the headquarter behind them, and then
like right here.
yeah,
Just like back here.
they have good command from there. Looks good.
All right, I think we're
And we have the-
solid there.
Okay.
you know?
Forsheim. I keep wanting to call it Florsheim. Forsheim is pretty well defended. Now the enemy probably won't go anywhere near it.
Welcome
Most
to my
likely,
result.
yeah.
His entire
Alright, so-
force is going to come straight through here.
So we got some more toes here. Distal toes here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to take a look at my game.
Where do we want these to end up? Here. That not a lot of
That's
concealment.
way too open.
Here, let's take a look at.
I have a crazy idea.
Uh-oh.
A lot
I've
of
heard
concealment
that before.
here.
To push them through the woods.
Oh, the yawn maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
The Jan maneuver. There you go.
It's like
Maybe
the
I
Picard
don't know
maneuver.
if they be fast enough. Probably not. But they aren't very good line of sights from the west, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of, why don't we
That's not covering the town. That's not
take a
covering the
while
town.
you're mentioning that, let's take a look at what it is over here.
Now,
That's
yeah,
pretty good.
that next hex up, which is the little thumb of the hill, where you were, over by Zekern, whatever that is.
Hold on a second. Oh, you mean more here?
Down, further south, all the way down to Zekern. Keep going.
So like even more south here.
Yeah,
you mean?
there you go. That hill, right there. That
I'm
little thumb.
slowly understanding. I'm slowly understanding what you all mean by over there.
Yeah. Yeah, more that way. More that way.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so
Yeah, that
something
location.
like that.
Yeah,
Let's just
that
see what it
location.
renders as.
Have the screen, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that location is pretty good. What do you think?
I think line of sight is not the best there, but it's all right. No need to risk them, anyways.
Well, we could put the tanks in that region if you prefer. In fact, you can use the tanks all up on that entire plateau, that entire hill
Mhm.
over by Hepstadt.
You want me to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, let's think about the infantry first, maybe. If we put the tanks there.
Alright.
Then you can put the infantry in the wooded hills above Zekern
Like
and down below.
You mean like so put a couple here, couple here.
Yeah, maybe put
Here,
one
for now,
in Zekern
let me,
proper, and then 2 to the north of it.
Yeah, on the what is that, Route 10 or whatever that is,
right
on
here.
the hill.
No.
All right, hold on.
It's the Bundesstraße 470.
Oh yeah, of course.
Exactly. We do.
They call it the Highway 1 of Germany.
Anti-air, yeah. Again, it's I don't know. Line of sights are difficult down there.
It'd be like right there.
Yeah, but does the ADA need? They don't need direct fire line of sight. They're shooting at they're shooting at helicopters, right? So you can put them like behind a hill in an ambush spot.
Let me put it here for now. We'll get it out of the way here in a minute. I just want to get.
Well, you definitely. I think you're going to want it to cover the tanks because those are going to be the prime target for him. And
I think the tanks bring their own.
Do they have their own ADA with them?
I think so. It's probably below the headquarters.
And not just the commander's M250.
Yeah, you're right. There is one. There is one.
Okay, good. All right, never mind.
Cool. All right, so let that one go there, but let the other one come here, right? Or here. All right. Let's keep going. These guys may be here.
Oh.
Okay. And did we already do the toes? I think we did, yeah. And then these guys down here or here.
Yeah, where'd you just move that toe to?
I think it's still down there. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's where you want the tanks.
Yeah.
Here, I'm just gonna let me just finish it and we can move it. Okay. So where would you prefer this unit to end up?
The toe should be on the northeast side of Zekern.
Oh, here. Here?
Up on the exactly there. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me fix that then. It's easier to fix these than it is to redo them. All right, there we go.
Can you check the line of sight from there?
Yep. Hold on, come on, baby. Come on.
Yeah, don't click the waypoint, but the hex. Oh. Yeah, unfortunately, there isn't a good position to overwatch the river valley, which would be what we ideally want to do. But
yeah, but if you move them further to the west, you're probably going to get them killed.
Right.
Well, depends. I mean, this one is a pretty good position there.
We are still it's still 0200 as well, right? So
yeah. This.
What do you think here? This is pretty good.
Left of that one is a pretty good position.
Right.
But then they would need, of course, infantry cover on the objective hex or whatever. And that's then true that the infantry will probably not leave that town.
Not alive.
Yeah.
So what, you want me to adjust this one to here?
Man, Jan, they said I'm hard on infantry.
Where would
I don't
you
know.
prefer this one?
It's just a thought. We can play that safe. Leave them back there. It's all right.
Okay. All right.
Well, it depends. I mean, once the enemy gets to that objective hex, are they even going to bother to keep coming?
They don't have to. I mean, they
don't have to.
They don't even have to enter that hex if we are that far away from it, because it's just down to area control.
Right. So yeah, if you do, I mean, these are good locations up here,
Where
but
do you
if you
want
put,
this? Never mind, that's not going.
yeah, if you put them up there, they're basically useless, right?
Yep.
Because the enemy takes the objective X and then he just sits there.
Mhm.
So yeah, we got to risk them. You don't have any choice.
So just as I'm gonna go unit by unit here. This
All right.
infantry is going here.
And that's the wrong
Yep.
location.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you want that?
If we
Here?
decide now to put the towers up front, then have them move into the objective hex basically,
Oh wow.
and dig in there. Have them hold.
Well, put the infantry in the objective hex. Put
Yep.
the toes on the hills overwatching the objective hex.
So even up here,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
like even
That one,
here?
yes. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. The most
Wow.
obvious location that there could possibly be. So,
So Modus,
every Soviet gun will be pointed at it when they get there. Yeah, that'll be perfect.
Yeah, but you can set them to move away once they take fire or whatever.
My
right,
guess
let's
is they're going
go.
to take fire long before they get there.
So let's go look at that now that you mentioned that. So we're looking at toes now. What do we want to do? Specific. We can always do it specific to this unit if we wanted to. We're not going to change the scope.
Yeah, I think it's
tactical.
it's true for all of them. At least moderate initiative, minimal losses, standoff range of 3 at least, maximum range, relocate after taking any fire, and that's it.
No change on.
No, they don't have, folks.
What about this one? Hide nearby.
Doesn't make a difference because they are just
Yeah,
vehicles.
because the vehicle is the unit. So
Yeah, and you can
Okay.
apply that to.
You want it to only itself for now, or
I think we haven't applied the changes to the other vehicles, and that should be good for all of them.
yeah, there's nothing. Cool.
Perfect.
All right, that's that. Do we want to just double check the SOP on these, or do we want them? Yeah, I think we do need to set
Yeah,
it,
we
right?
need to. Although that might be different.
Well, we can do it by the command. Is there a? Well, there isn't an H of it, is there? Hold on, let's see if there is. No, there isn't a headquarters of that type. Here, let's just do it by type. What are we thinking?
for the infantry.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, in this specific location, it's like, I don't know, slight initiative and
Yeah,
do
they got
or
to hold
die.
till they die, right?
Yeah, do or
Yeah.
die for those.
hmm
And then the only question would be, do you want them to fire their dragons and reveal themselves, or stay in ambush?
maximum. Or
I guess I would say point blank, yeah. Have
Do
the
you want
enemy
them to
come
come
at them.
okay.
And do
Relocate.
not support the passengers, so.
Yeah, I'll do that. But after receiving fire.
No,
withdraw.
never leave.
And you said hide nearby.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that's right. All right, and then all same type, or
We can do that for now and change the others, but the others need to be different.
there's a bunch of them. Yeah. Well, at least
But
one.
I mean, hide nearby, for example, is true for all of them, so.
Well, okay, so let's just talk about that then. Any of the others here need a different SOP?
Can you click through them where they are going? Oh, and also the one we edited just before, do they screen there on the objective or do they hold? Would be good if they hold. If their final order was, yeah, change
Can
that
I
to hold.
change it here?
Yes.
Like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Perfect. They're not supposed to leave anyways.
Okay. What did we? Do you want to check that on these two? Let's just check that. That's a screen. You want to know?
Yeah, screen there should be good. That's all right.
And then let's just check what we got.
However, we can change the SOP on how many losses they can take before moving and all that stuff. So that's probably moderate.
Is that the only thing you want to change on this?
Range is
What about this too?
good. Yeah, hide. All
I'm
of them
surprised
need
that
to
wasn't hide already. And then this one. I think we already checked the. Let's check this off. Moderate. You want this to be more moderate, right? Or is it acceptable? Yeah. And then we probably won't also want that hide nearby. All right. I'm surprised those aren't set hide nearby because I thought
does it apply the changes if you just close it down there? And
I hope the hell it does.
so I'm confused. It doesn't give you a warning. Yeah, it doesn't do it.
I'm glad you asked. All right, so I don't know what happened there, but that didn't take. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's just do that to the unit itself. Okay, maybe I was doing that wrong too.
But we can change the range of those. They can fire their dragons before the enemy is on top of them. No, apply.
I want them to add a warning to that if they're watching
Yeah.
this. Please, because I'm going to do that constantly. All right. Let's just double check what we have moderate.
Maybe it's better we do it the other way around. Before we go through all of them, let's do this one as the default and then just edit the one that is going onto the objective. Because okay. I think for all of the others, it's all right if they share the same settings.
And we're okay with a tactical initiative moderate too.
Yeah.
Standoff.
I guess most of them are supposed to be sort of a static defense. So I'm not sure if we want to have them scoot away at all.
Probably not. I would think if this is what we're intending on to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, medium range should be all right.
Well, you want medium or maximum?
I would say medium because they only got the 4 dragons on long range anyways.
Okay.
And then better have them hit the target than just waste their ammunition.
And hide nearby.
Yes.
And everything else looks okay.
Yeah, do we want to have them relocate? I don't think so. I mean, that's again is an issue with the game, right? If they get under fire, let's say by artillery, and they have an order to evacuate or relocate once they get under any sort of fire, then they just move out of their cover, put their vehicles on the road, move into the vehicles, and sit there and think, well, which road do I take today? And meanwhile, they are just obliterated. So I tend to have them never relocate.
Okay.
Because it really depends on the situation, yeah.
And then 0 standoff, we were okay with that.
Well, and apply that to all of the same type, and then we only have to change the one unit that is moving into the objective hex. This one, yeah. So do or die, point blank range. And yeah, that's it. Okay.
Okay.
And I think the only units we need to apply another SOP for are the tanks. Everybody else is covered now, I think.
Are we okay with their position right now? Do we want to order them forward at all? Keep them in.
Yeah, I think you're going to want them there to the east, on that hill to the southeast of Hepstadt.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want them along that ridge right there. The two best locations, I think, and Jan can check the LOS from these, but it's that little thumb due east of Hepstadt, right there, and then the other little thumb to the southwest
Hold on,
of Hepstadt.
Just give me a second. That messed up. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Yeah, they're pretty good to cover the. Yeah, well, still not the approach, but anyways, the areas around. The one to the east of Hepstadt will only provide cover if the enemy is coming through the woods from the north directly, or has already pushed beyond the objective.
Can he fire on that road coming into the objective from the northeast?
Only on one single hex, so.
Where?
I mean, they can. If
there.
You, yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fine, because what you're doing is they're not going to shoot till these guys get in there, and as soon as they get into that hex, those tanks are going to kill everything in that hex. What about from the other location?
You mean
For
from
the
any
west.
of the?
Yeah, you see number 13 down there. The number 13. Yeah, I think that was the right one.
So
yeah, that approach that covers the.
We can always change. God,
Yeah.
bless almighty. Why does it not do
I think
that?
that covers the other approach, and you get a nice little crossfire effect there as they come into the objective.
Screen.
Yeah, screen is good for the tanks.
Keep the headquarters here.
Yeah, put it in the center. It's a tank too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, exactly.
It's my tank, as a matter of fact. And this is 1989, so it could be my tank.
Here you go. We'll check these. Where did I put the air defense?
The XO has to drive around in that M113.
Where do we want the air defense here?
Yeah, you want it to be able to cover the approach to these guys.
Yeah, maybe even Hepstadt.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have one platoon of infantry.
And those you could put those in Hepstadt as well if you want, or deploy them to the, or deploy them in the into, what is it, Zekorn? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for bloody hell! Hold on.
Because there's no way the enemy gets to Hepstadt anyway, so they're not going to go across those lakes. And if they can get to Hepstadt, that means all your tanks are dead anyway. So that little infantry unit isn't going to matter.
Yep. All right. Is there anybody left to move?
Do we need, not for movement, I don't think, but do we need to change the SOPs on these?
On the tanks, yeah. Let's take a look at them.
All right, let's take a look at those real quick.
Do or die on the tanks.
Do or die?
Minimal losses.
Max?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely max. We have all the advantages when it comes to that.
Never relocate, or?
Okay, well, let's talk about the philosophy on where we've got the tanks, because if they take that victory point objective out there, they really don't have any reason to keep coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point in moving from that location. We have to kill everything that comes there, right?
Yep.
So you might as well put them,
Yeah.
you might as well keep them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them to stay right where they are.
Yep. Apply to all.
Same type.
And that does apply to all of them, because where we have the other tank unit over by Forsheim
Mm-hmm.
is in a do or die spot too, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Or what we used to call them, dip, die in place.
Okay.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
What's this guy down?
That's
all
the
the way
overall
down there at the
headquarters. Maybe
bottom?
put them in the city or in the town.
Is that the
This guy?
HQ there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just drag them
You
into
want 'em-
Bayersdorf, that they have some cover. Yep.
All right. All these guys going to be able to resupply ammo with relative ease?
I don't think.
Think of the logistics. Because my tankers are going to use up those, that combat load pretty fast.
Yeah,
there's
for
going to
now,
be a lot of
the
Russian
game
tanks.
just has a global pool of ammunition, and as soon as a unit gets the resupply order, they will just materialize it from nowhere.
Oh,
This
awesome.
would be
Scotty, beam me in some tank rounds.
This would be where. Speaking of that, we need to look at our fire support, right? But this would be where it would alert me already if there was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, I know we have artillery. Is it on call at the start, or do we have to
No,
wait
they
on
will
it?
be arriving in 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just there.
So no joy there, huh? We can't just pre-plan blowing the hell out of everything around there.
Just see what else we got.
Yeah,
coming.
mortars in 50 minutes, field artillery 45 minutes, and then even more artillery and then
Here we go.
helicopters.
Some longbows coming in. Nice. All right, I can't wait for that. Oh, I can't wait for the
Warthog. Yeah, I really want to see that.
I want to hear some
It's a lovely sight, as long as you're not on the wrong end of it.
Depleted uranium is not my friend.
It's not anybody's friend. There's no such thing as friendly fire.
Right. A friend of mine was saying that the Apaches would go over our infantry positions and fire over them, and literally the shell casings from the 30 mil
falling on them.
Yes, and burning their arms.
Yeah, the hot shell casings. The first time I saw one in a tactical exercise, it just surprised the hell out of me, because I was sitting on top of the tank. We were down on the military crest of a hill, and we're sitting around. We're doing a little maintenance and stuff like that, and I never heard a thing. All of a sudden, that Apache came up the top, over the top of that hill, fired off a couple of hellfires, and dropped back down like that. And I mean, you didn't even know he was there until those missiles flew, because the sound was completely masked. I mean, that's how good they are at using the terrain and everything else. So you never knew he was there, and he was up, fired, and gone in, like, I don't know, a few seconds. There was not much chance to get any counterfire on him. And at that point, I got a whole new respect for those things, and I was like, okay, I'm glad they're on my side.
Yeah, one thing, I mean, I think we are good with the setup now. We could hit the button and see how it goes. One thing I sort of think would be interesting to have in the game as well, as sort of more complex supply rules or whatever, and campaign sort of mechanics and that stuff, is the role of civilians. I know that some of the scenarios, they do mention that there are refugees streaming through the area and all that. And there we see preliminary artillery strikes into the woods.
We're already getting hit in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. They're right on top of our Cav
Uh-huh.
scouts out there.
Yeah.
I think you predicted that, didn't you?
Yes, I did, because it's like one of those obvious spots, you know. So of course they're gonna pre-strike it, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting, Yum, because you know
Oh.
my
Oh.
project 1980s, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Dude, they're firing chemical.
that's what the hell?
Those are chemical.
Yeah. Boy, these guys are pulling out all the stops.
Hey, somebody take a video of that. That's like the Hague level.
Luckily, we don't have anybody there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, that hits the topic as well. So what I was getting at, civilians in war games, I mean, that's such a wide and complex topic, and there have been discussions, of course, ever since the first war game basically has been published. But when it comes to these sort of scenarios, we often find ourselves sort of bombarding towns and villages and cities and whatnot, and sort of the role of civilian losses and civilian movement and all that stuff doesn't really plays any role in these sort of games. But it could, I mean, on one side it would add another dimension that is sort of a basic part of warfare, and then it would also, on the other side, add interesting tactical dilemmas. So how do you deal with that movement of refugees, of civilians? Do you prepare corridors for them to move through and all that stuff?
Well, what I was saying about the project, my project with the different game systems that I've been talking to with Jan about, they each have, of course, refugee rules in them, which slows NATO's ability to respond. But then you've also got the chemical and the nuclear aspect of the game, of all three of those games, and they're roughly similar in the way they approach that. You know, NATO, for example, can't do first use, and it can't use them on German cities, you know, at all. Period. Warsaw Pact use of chemicals on urban areas in some games is actually prohibited, in others it comes with a very stiff victory point penalty for its use. Tactical nuclear you can't use, period, on the urban areas, which makes sense from a logical perspective. You know, why nuke Hamburg if you're trying to take Hamburg? You know, then there's no point, right? So, but yeah, and there would be you would have that different RO&E for NATO than you would have for Warsaw Pact. And how long into the war would that ROE stand up before, you know, hey, they're getting to do things we're not doing? You know, if we reached a desperation point where we're willing to, you know, bomb a German city in order to save it, you know, and it's the Monte Cassino dilemma, you know, and how much is it worth not to destroy this historic monument, you know? And we had similar problems in Iraq, in Fallujah, because they would use the mosques, and RO&E prevented us to fire on a mosque. So, you know, we were the only ones essentially respecting the mosque because we couldn't shoot at it, you know, unless they fired at us from them, and we then would have to go up the chain and get permission. And, you know, an hour later, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and shoot at them if they shoot at you from there, you know, that kind of thing. Eventually, we did fire on the main mosque there because we were forced to. But yeah, it's an interesting. It's not something you see in game terms very often, at least not that I'm familiar with. But it is part of the overall problem, you know. What in the world are they using there?
Peter.
Here's some
Wow.
smoke for you.
That's my goodness. This is like MLRS smoke.
That's exactly what it was.
They just smoked the whole grid square.
Did they just drop paraforces there with the smoke? Because the scouts are getting fired upon from the smoke axis.
Yeah, they are. So some kind of air assault teams or something in there.
Wow.
Well, if we had any artillery, we'd know where to drop it. There's some elite Russian airborne troops that are badly in need of some 155 shells.
Oh, helicopters as well.
Now that was predictable. You knew if we had them and we had all that ADA, they were going to have helicopters. Is it a recon chopper or is it a attack
No,
chopper?
it was an assault.
Uh-oh.
We'll see if our air defense there can set up quickly. I don't know.
Well, the problem is, will it stop moving in time to actually shoot before it gets shot?
Well,
Gas.
All right. My God. Gas.
That's like Rolling Stones, right? It's like gas. All right.
Wow.
Wow. Well, they unleashed everything, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we might want to
Rethink?
well that too, but I don't know how much time I have beyond this as far as I feel like it's going to take a while to get some of these orders in. Do we want to do like a second session of this or keep
Sure,
going?
we can.
So all right, so same time next week or something like that, and continue.
Let's see. Next week, 11th. I think
So
I should be able to do it.
Yeah, we can take that offline, but so we'll pencil that in for now.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get any. I mean, I didn't see any reported losses.
No, we had no losses so far.
Yeah.
But we will lose the the infantry down there if they don't stop moving immediately.
That's a recon chopper, right?
I don't think so.
It's marked as an R.
G2.
Huh. G2, that is recon actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
It is. So they can't shoot at them, but they're almost certainly going to bring down artillery down on them.
It's an interesting use of Heinz.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused to see a Hind to be just a recon. Can you? Does it provide you any information on their systems? No, it doesn't.
No. Let me make sure, and I'm sure it auto saved. Let me just save it as well.
It's interesting that he's scouting that location, but boy, he concentrated a lot of smoke and fire on those other locations, and the gas.
And chemicals and.
Well, I'm happy to see that. I mean, I'm happy to see we didn't happen upon too much here, at least so far.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't, push most of our guys right into the chemical storm.
Yeah, I think this was the right move. Just based on where they're probing over here, I feel like this might have been the right move. So we'll see. All right. Well, I might call it at that point for now. I just feel like if we start going on this next turn, it's going to take a while to stop presenting. So far, so good.
Yep.
I learned a few tiny little things here and there interface-wise. The standard operating procedures, I'd definitely like us to kind of see. This is a different kind of game because you give the orders and then it's good bit in many cases before you can order again. So it's a little bit difficult. It's difficult to experiment with some of those things easily or readily and quickly. So, for example, we had a couple situations there where we didn't know if we wanted to never fall back or not, but we'll see how it plays out. So cool, good insights throughout. I thought, both of you, and we will schedule another one very soon. Let's see what some of these comments.
It will be interesting to see how that continues.
Me
Let me
too.
see, there might have been a couple. Oh, cool. I just wanted to make sure there weren't any. Oh, there's Dave Pumphouse. Hey, Dave. You're still there.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't looking at these. I should make a note to keep it on my phone over here next time we do this. So we'll do another round of this, most likely within a week, and this was fun.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there's a lot of games like this that would be interesting to hear multiple viewpoints at the same time. We're effectively role playing command pretty well here. We just need to argue more. So yeah, great. It was great talking to everybody, and hope you enjoyed this, everybody.
All right.
Let me end. Wait a second. All right. I'll ping you